Hello, Flosstube. It's Beth Martinez, phantastitches, with my Flosstube update number 321. Today is Saturday, February 17th. The month's already halfway over. I'm a little behind on my one of my WIPGO goals, but the month's only half over. It only goes to the 29th this month, but it does go to the 29th, not just the 28th. February is always a difficult month just because of those few days. It makes all the difference, I guess, sometimes, depending on what you're working on. So, first of all, I wanted to say I've read a couple things on Facebook, the Facebook WIPGO group or whatever, that some people are lamenting, not hitting their goals or whatever for February. First of all, the month's only, like I said, only half over. But secondly, I think people tend to sometimes beat themselves up for not living up to their WIPGO goals or whatever. And I think part of it is not maybe being less than realistic about what your goals are for each of your projects. And part of it is, I think, the tendency to sort of beat yourself up if you don't hit a goal or whatever. And also maybe being overly ambitious or whatever on the goals you set, or maybe not even being as understanding about what WIPGO is for or whatever. We always say, your board, your rules for WIPGO, and that is very true. That the whole point of WIPGO, I feel, is like to give you a guidance, basically, to touch whatever whips are on your WIPGO board. I have probably more than 50 whips, certainly. And in the past, I've concentrated on some of my older whips and put them all on my WIPGO board. And and this year I switched to basically mostly a new set of whips. And my old ones are still there. I finished very few of them, so I still have a whole bunch of whips sitting in, but these are newer whips because last year I did a whole bunch of new starts as well. So, but it's just a way of maybe of giving you a chance to touch on your whips. What's hard for me sometimes is that they're sort of out of sight, out of mind. These various projects, whether it's a new start or a whip or whatever, or even an FFO idea, that once I set it aside for something else, then it sort of fades from memory or whatever, and I forget that I even have that, right? And so the nice thing about the WIPGO board is that whatever you put on there, whatever goals you set your own goals. It may be just a matter of, like some people put, stitch something red, or whatever, something very vague in there so that they can choose whatever they want to work on, whether it's a new starter or a whip or whatever. But for me, the motivation is that these are all things that I've started mostly, and things that I just want to make sure I spend some time on. So if I have a goal of 7 days, then that gives me a goal to work on that for 7 days, and it gives me sort of a push to make sure that I put some time in on that particular thing. But like other people have said, you have all year to work on that, right? It's just a matter of today sort of, gives you an impetus for that. So you don't necessarily have to hit your goal this month, the month that it's called. I usually do that just because my goal is only like this year, 7 days. So if I do 7 days on this one and 7 days on that one, the two that are called, that only takes 14 days out of the generally 30 or 31 days. February is a little different, but in those other days I have leeway to either continue stitching on that WIPGO thing, or as I've done this year, I've put secondary whips or new starts that don't have specific goals, so I just can do as much on them as I want to. And then I've got a couple of other projects that are not on the WIPGO board, but that I can put some time in on, as you'll see, as I feel, right, or as I need to, or for like a gift or something like that. So WIPGO is just a tool, and should never be something that you use to beat yourself up with, right? And to feel bad about, because this is a hobby and it's supposed to, be something you do for fun, to enjoy yourself, whatever, and not something that you do as a sort of browbeating, goal, like, you would for, for work or something, where at work your boss may tell you, get this done by Friday. And, and as we say, there's no such thing as a cross-stitch police. So, do whatever you do. You may not, hit the goal for a particular month, within the month, whatever. But in the end, nobody's going to come knocking on your door for not having met that goal. So, like I said, use it as you can use it as a jumping off point, if you will, to sort of, just put that little bug in your ear about working on that particular piece as you can. So, yeah. So for those of you who are out there who are questioning it or, worrying about it or whatever, just, take it easy. Take a step back. It's just for fun, right? There's all kinds of goals out there, like, that people have for sort of organizing their thoughts on working on a whip or whatever, working on a project, whether it's, all kinds of different prompts, that are out there for stitching, putting in this many stitches, or stitching on, something red, some color, some animal that's included, or whatever, whatever it is that you put on there as a goal or whatever. So that, like I said, there's all kinds of tools out there. There's all kinds of some people have just, personal goals that they have or whatever. So it's just a matter of a tool to help you remember to stitch on this or that or the other. So don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up about it. So anyway, so I've, as I said before, I participating in WIPGO. I'm participating in Winter Cross Stitch Camp, and a couple other things that I've got going on. So I'm going to start with my Winter Cross Stitch Camp piece. So Winter Cross Stitch Camp, for those of you who might not know, I think most everybody who watches this regularly would know this already. But oh, now I can't say her name. Sherry Truax Berger is Colorado cross stitcher, and she has been doing the cross stitch camp things. So cross stitch camp normally in the summer version of it is for the months of June, July, and August. And then also there is winter cross stitch camp, which is the month of February. And so generally there's a challenge for the month. You start on the first of the month and finish by the end of the month, and you stitch whatever that challenge is. So in this case, for a winter cross stitch camp, it's stitch something with an animal in it. And so I started on February 1st, and I'm almost done with this. This is Mouse's Christmas Decorating by Tinymodernist. Now, Tinymodernist has a bunch of these mouse patterns. She was recently on, what do you call it? Now I can't think of the name of it. She was doing a trunk show for, I can see the logo of their Flosstubes, and I can't say the name of it. Anyway, she was doing a trunk show on there, and she was talking about that she has about 10 or 11 of these mouse patterns. This one, I looked more closely at the PDF, and the copyright on it is 2020. So she's, apparently done several of these, and she has a couple more that she's releasing for Nashville, I guess. But anyway, so gee, I only have 3 of them. so I may be looking into that a little bit. But anyway, so this is Mouse's Christmas Decorating, and so I am almost finished. I have this orangey color that it's in these little single stitches in these berries, and this ribbon here on this stack of presents, and this ornament here, and the cheeks of the snowman and the mouse, and also it's in this other color of the scarf, which I've done. So I'm working on that one color, and when I finish it, I'll be done with this. So hopefully that I can even, I've been working on this today, and if I continue working on it, I might be able to finish this this piece by the end of today, or certainly in the next couple of days. Right here there's another ornament that goes right here, and so I'm working with this sort of pinkish, sort of orangish color. I just finished working on this scarf today, and I've added all of this since last week. I finished the snowflakes up here, finished all the white down here in the snowman and in the mouse's clothes, did her shoes and everything else. So like I said, all I have left is that lighter color to do their cheeks, and then there's a little bit of back stitching, the snowman's little smile and the legs of this cardinal, and then the strings or whatever that these hang from, these ornaments hang from. And I think, yeah, that's all back stitching, is those few things. So yeah, so I just have a little bit left to do. There's just that one other like I said, that pinky color it's in the cheeks and the bow on these presents and on this one ornament, and then just the single stitches on these berries. So it's very close to being finished, which is good, So the hashtag for that is hashtag Winter Cross Stitch Camp 2024 and hashtag Colorado Cross Stitcher. And I'll try to remember to put that. I don't think I put that in the description box the last couple of weeks, but I'll try to put those in. For you can theoretically you could still start. You don't have to start on the 1st, but after the 1st of February at least. And if you use those two hashtags, you can still participate in that if you think you can, if you want to finish by the 29th. So, like I said, I'm doing this. This is basically a pretty small design. I think the stitch count is like 59 by 59 or something like that. Let's see if I've got the stitch count handy here. Yeah, 59 by 59. So, so it's not very big. It's just, yeah, it is what it is. So it's almost done. Yay! I'm very happy with that. It's very cute. That is Mouse's Christmas Decorating by Tinymodernist. And I'm using this, I think it's 28 count linen that I dyed myself. It's just this blue color. I did some other Christmas things on it. If you saw the December Flosstubes, I used that for some Christmas stitching. And so this is just more of that same fabric. I thought that would be cute for that mouse. And then the other non-WIPGO stitching that I've got, matter of fact, pretty much everything is non-WIPGO stitching. I've been working on this Owl Trio by Jennifer Nilsson for Dimensions. It was a little Dimensions kit, came with 14 count Ada and all the threads. And so it's coming along pretty nicely. The owls are all of this stitching is done, and right now I'm working on this border. There's these empty squares here are going to be white stitches, and then there's an additional line of the border that goes along the outside of this. But right now I'm just working on the inside because I've got sort of a way to a pattern worked out on that stitching. And then there's a whole bunch of back stitching and French knots. All the feathers on the birds' tummies are all like individual feathers here are back stitched on this owl and around each of their eyes. And this one has the eyelashes, and then there's zigzaggy lines across here and all around their little ears and on the leaves and around the branches. There's a lot of back stitching. So yeah, and like I said, that it calls for French knots. I'm going to use colonial knots, of course, here and here. There's just a lot of, you think, oh, good, I'm almost done. And it's like, no, I'm not almost done. There's a lot of stitching left to do. And I'm not crazy about back stitching, but hopefully once I get going, it'll be pretty easy, because there's like one color around these eyes, and then I think brown around this one, and maybe blue around this one, around the inside of their eyes. I mean the colored part of their eyes. Brown around these brown stitches, green around these green stitches, and I think blue around these blue stitches. I have to look at, but for the most part, the rest of the stitching is, there's the French knots down here are white, and all the rest of this is, I think, in black. So yeah. So, but it's, like I said, it's coming along. It was supposed to be done. It had been done a month ago for the end of January for Rachel's birthday, but it didn't happen. And then the other extracurricular stitching I've done, I haven't touched on this in a long time. This is the Black Cat Season series that by Lindy Stitches, and Stephanie Webb is the designer of that. This is number 4, House Panther. And I just had barely, last time, I don't even know when the last time I worked on it. I think I worked on it some in January, in the beginning of January. And I just had, I think I had it up to the beginning of this R. And so I just basically finished out the thread that I had going on. I did this arrow and the rest, finished the R, and then this is part of the E. I think, yeah, the top half of the E goes in there still. And then there's like another color that to sort of, you know, outline those letters. That there's this, you know, that orange color along there. And yeah, so I just barely, you know, put a few stitches in there. But I had, you know, it was, I just saw it the other day. It's like, I haven't worked on that at all for a while, so I just wanted to give it a little love. But for the most part, I've been working on another WIPGO, my WIPGO piece. And so my goal was, this is the Beaver, Year in the Woods series, number 11, I believe, yeah, by Cottage Garden Samplings. And so, again, my goal was 7 days. I've done 4 out of the 7 so far on this. I haven't even begun on my second WIPGO piece. There was, you know, for each month, like I said, I've got two things on my WIPGO chart. So one is the main piece, like this, the Beaver, and the other is a secondary one that doesn't have any specific goal. So one of the pieces I had for February, my secondary one was the Rabbit, the December Rabbit is the one I chose. And I worked on that just the first couple of days of February. So theoretically, technically, I could stitch on that some more. I may or may not, it just depends. But Mama Cat, which is another Dimensions kit, is my second WIPGO piece, and it also, the goal on it was also 7 days. So I have a few days left to, you know, I'm going to have to double up on this one. This one still has, I've only done 4 of the 7 days, so I still have 3 days left. We'll see how it goes. But I did finish this tree trunk all the way down. I haven't done any of the leaves yet. But I did finish the tree all the way down. And this cabin, part of the reason I had not done anymore was that I had to go and dig out all the DMC threads. And I finally got all or most of them. Yeah, I ended up just buying two of the DMC threads because I'd looked for them and didn't find them and whatever. So, you know, I just went ahead and bought 2 more skeins of DMC colors. Because all of these patterns have like about two fancy floss colors, and then you know, the other colors are all DMC. So this one uses charcoal and pecan, which are Weeks Dye Works colors, and then the rest are all DMC colors. So I was able to do most of this little cabin, except for the lighter colored it's a DMC color. I just hadn't put that in yet. And then, like I said, I finished the tree, and then I was working on the Beaver, and I got his nose and his eye and the inside of his ear. That's all in charcoal, I think, also. So I did all that, except that I sort of carried the thread between the 3 of them because I was gonna, you know, stitch, you know, in that over that. So I didn't think it was gonna show. But then I miscounted a little bit, and I think. Yeah, I think I snipped it, and, you know, where I had carried it, I snipped it and re-stitched it, and I, you know, like, was playing thread chicken to get it all in there, but I did. I fixed it because I had miscounted this ear, and I didn't find it until I started putting in these other stitches here, and realized I was like maybe, I think 2 stitches short. Yeah. But anyway, you can see it now a little bit if you squint and put your tongue in the right place. There's his nose, there's his eye, there's the inside of his ear. So I'm working on this brown color here. And there's a little bit of this pecan color right on the top of his head there. But so I got to the actual beaver. This is the bat. The beaver starts right here, the beaver chart, and it ends right here. But there's the tree. So I did the like I said, the bark, the main part of the trunk of the tree. And then I did this little cabin. So it is missing one color in this these empty squares that are there. But otherwise, it's done. And so, yeah. And that, like I said, there's 3 days left for the beaver. So, yeah, I hope to finish that cabin and then to just get some more stitching in on the beaver himself. But so, so that's all I've been working on, because I think last week I talked about how I spent a few days finishing that stitching for my nephew, and like that. So so I'm hoping to finish the 3 days for the beaver, and finally get to the mama cat. And the other thing I had, along with the beaver, the secondary whip for that is actually a new start. Winter Cardinal Etching, which was in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher a few years ago, 2020, I think. But so I haven't started on that. That's a new start for my secondary WIPGO call. So, and I think I have some fabric picked out for that, and there are 2 fancy false colors, and one of which I don't have, apparently. And so I'll either go, if I have a chance to go to the attic, or I may order online. It just depends on what I decide to do for that, or what I have time to do for that. So yeah, so hopefully I'll get all those other things done. Hopefully I'll finish the mouse, finish for winter cross stitch camp, and I have a few more days to go on the beaver, and 7 days to go on mama cat, and I'll squeeze winter cardinal etching in there somewhere. At least the trees. The trees, it's a bunch of little aspen trees, I guess, and this cardinal in there. And the cardinal is done in cherry cobbler, which is the color that I don't have. I want to say it's color and cotton. And the other the trees are done in sticks and twigs, which I do have. So I'll maybe, put in at least the sticks and twigs colors, and I may not get to the cardinal itself this month, but all I have to do, really, to meet the goal for that square is to start that. So if I do just 1 day on that, that's all I need to do, really. Excuse me. So, I think that's all I have for this month. I mean, this week. Sorry. Yeah. So I will see you next week, and hopefully the mouse should be done, and the beaver should have hit the goal by then, and we'll see how everything else is going. I'm trying to think if there was something else I was going to say. I don't think so. I think that's all. So yeah, today we were. I was. This is a little later than I usually post because we did our the sticks and strings video with my sisters. We did actually at my sister Naomi's house, so we a little bit later in the day, and then Eve and I did some running around. She wanted to get some stuff to FFO something, and yeah, so we were doing a little running around. That's why this is, and I hadn't eaten anything all day, so that's why this is a little late. But hopefully you'll still enjoy it, and it's only 30 minutes or so. So I will see you all next week, and until then, you'll keep it light, keep it happy. You keep your stitching light and happy, and don't beat yourself up. I'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.